In the heart of medieval France, where the valleys of the Alet and the Oise met, stood a monstrous fortress that could make even the bravest heart quiver. This was the Castle of Coucy, a towering colossus that dominated the landscape and the lives of those who lived in its shadow. Imagine a castle so vast and so powerful that it could house 1,000 men, with walls so thick that they seemed to defy the laws of nature. This was the home of the Sire de Coucy, a family of lords whose name was whispered with a mix of fear and awe. The story of the Sire de Coucy begins in a time when the world was a chaotic place. There were no nations as we know them today, only a patchwork of fiefs and domains ruled by powerful lords. The church was the only institution that offered a semblance of order, but even it was not immune to the violence and ambition that defined the age. In this world, the Coucys rose to prominence, not through divine right or noble birth, but through sheer force of will and a relentless pursuit of power. The first thing you need to understand about the Coucys is that they were not just any family. They were a dynasty, a line of rulers who built their legacy on the backs of their enemies and the sweat of their peasants. The Castle of Coucy, with its 5 towering turrets and massive donjon at the center, was a symbol of their might. The donjon itself was a marvel of medieval engineering, standing 180 feet tall and 90 feet in diameter. It was said that the steps inside were so large that only giants could climb them, and the window seats were so high off the ground that they seemed designed for a race of titans. But the castle was more than just a show of power. It was a fortress designed to withstand any siege. The walls were thick, the moat was deep, and the ramparts were lined with archers ready to rain arrows on any who dared to challenge the Coucys. The town that grew around the castle was a bustling hub of activity, with 100 houses and a church with a square tower that stood as a testament to the wealth and influence of the Sire de Coucy. The Coucys did not just build the castle, they built a legacy. They were the lords of one of the 4 great baronies of France, and they were not afraid to challenge the king himself. They went on crusades, married into royalty, and fought in countless battles. They were known for their ferocity and their ambition, and they were not afraid to use any means necessary to achieve their goals. One of the most notorious members of the Coucy family was Thomas de Marie. He was a man of such violence and brutality that even the church, which often turned a blind eye to the sins of the powerful, could not ignore his crimes. Thomas was excommunicated and declared a heretic, but even this did not stop him. He continued to pillage and plunder, to torture and kill, until he finally met his end. But even in death, he left a legacy of fear and respect. The Coucys were not just warriors, they were builders and patrons of the arts. They supported the construction of the great cathedrals of northern France, including the magnificent structures in Laon, Reims, Amiens, and Beauvais. These cathedrals, with their soaring spires and intricate carvings, were a reflection of the Coucys' desire to leave a lasting mark on the world. They were a symbol of the wealth and power of the family, and they stood as a testament to their influence. But the world was changing, and the Coucys could not escape the forces that were reshaping medieval Europe. The rise of the monarchy, the growth of the towns, and the emergence of a new class of merchants and artisans were all challenging the old order. The Coucys, with their feudal mindset and their reliance on military might, found themselves increasingly at odds with the new realities of the world. In the end, the Castle of Coucy and the dynasty it represented became a relic of a bygone era. The castle was eventually destroyed, and the Coucys faded into history. But their story remains a powerful reminder of a time when power was won, and lost through the strength of the sword and the will of the Lord. The legacy of the Coucys is a complex one. They were not just villains or heroes. They were a product of their time, shaped by the violence and ambition that defined medieval Europe. Their story is a reminder that history is not black and white, but a tapestry of many colors, woven from the threads of human ambition, greed, and the eternal quest for power. So the next time you hear the name Coucy, remember the towering castle that once stood on a hill in Picardy, and the family that built it. Remember the men and women who lived and died there, and the legacy they left behind. For in the story of the Coucys, we see a reflection of the human spirit, in all its glory and its darkness.